Live from 2 News. This is Talkin' Real, powered by Strong Auto Group.
Welcome to another edition of Talkin' Real. This is a double edition this week, Dunny. We had 2 games since the last show, 2 games before the next show. We better get started. We'll pick it up with highlights. Let's go to the 4th minute in Red Bull Arena. Kemar Lawrence down the flank. Centers for Sean Davis. And that's an easy tap and goal for Mike Grella.
Well, it's unfortunate for Tony Beltran, and we'll take another look as we break down this goal in particular later in the show. But a great job from Kemar Lawrence, back from international duty with Jamaica. Right place, right time. Grella gets his 4th goal of the season for New York Red Bull, and New York Red Bulls go up early. Just 4 minutes in the match at home at Red Bull Arena.
6th minute. RSL trying to answer. Sebastian Jaime. Devin Sandoval. But Luis Robles there for the save.
Well, Sebastian Jaime does a good job, gets his head up, recognizes Devin Sandoval's in between 2 defenders. Poor marking from the New York Red Bulls, but Luis Robles just parries down to his right-hand side.
29th minute. Javier Morales. Long ball. Plata. Cuts it back. His shot. A little spill there, but Robles cleans it up, jumps back on it.
Yeah, when Plata isolated, gets in behind, gets the sharp tut against Connor Lade, opens up the hips, and right into the hands, unfortunately, for Luis Robles.
Key play, 40th minute. Robles showing off the arm, going deep. Throws it across midfield, and then Javi Morales in. Felipe was there. The hard tackle by Javi. 4th official says straight red card.
Well, and that's the thing. It wasn't the center ref that made that call. It wasn't the assistant referee on the far side. Referee actually said play on. It was the 4th official, Juan Carlos Rivero, is the man that indicated to the referee that that should have been a red card. Javier Morales off, down a man. Start of the second half. Heavy challenge from Jamar Phillips, and that would be a straight red card. 2nd red card of the match for Real Salt Lake, and they would be down now 2 men for the final 37 minutes of the match.
Just when you thought, at least I thought, it might unravel, RSL actually started to play its best soccer of the match. 59th minute, Jordan Allen comes on as a sub, makes an immediate impact.
Well, first great touch around Grella, gets his head up, recognizes not a lot of options, and why not from that distance? He takes a hard deflection off the defender, and he was very, very bright in his movement, getting forward, attacking with numbers.
65th minute, Lawrence making another run against the RSL defense. Centers for Bertrand Abong, and Nick Raimondo is on the post to make the save.
Well, and again, when you're down 2 men, you're chasing the game, you need your goalkeeper to come up big. That's exactly what Nick Raimondo did.
81st minute. More defense. Dangerous ball. Tony Beltran there. Offside flag is up. The goal does not count. It's still 1-0.
Yeah, when the ball was played in, you had 2 strikers, Abong and Kemar Lawrence, and what a catastrophe that was. Left-footed Kemar Lawrence using that kickstand for a right foot, but in an offside position, neither goal would count.
Stoppage time, still 1-0. More Jordan Allen. Grella on the dead run. Allen tracking back. Perfect choice, perfect moment.
Well, listen, his play in particular was phenomenal. He came off the bench, down 2 players, and he played a hybrid of a wide player, but also as a defender who's covering the back shoulder. Great decision making, and that could have very easily resulted in the 2nd goal of the night for New York Red Bulls.
Post-game show, Denny and I talked to Coach Jeff Cassar about the 2 red cards.
I wish I could tell you guys, but it wouldn't be for everyone's ears. You know, the communication between the 4th and I was very poor. So I can't tell you about it. Sorry. It was amazing. I thought their effort in the second half, their commitment to work for each other, to rally around a very tough situation.
I'm very proud of these guys. The heat, the circumstances that going down two guys and just battling to the 94th minute. Just extremely proud of these guys. I think we showed a lot of character out there. Yes, we didn't get 3 points. But to see these young kids go out there and fight the way they did with, you know, in an away game, just a lot of respect for those guys in front of me.
So here are the Western Conference standings. RSL, 21 points. They are in 8th place in the 10-team West. They are 2 points behind FC Dallas. FC Dallas holding down the 6th and final playoff berth. In the Eastern Conference, you got DC United on top and running away with it. Then a bunch of teams, including a couple that RSL is going to see soon. Columbus and Orlando. Orlando 3rd, Columbus 5th, tied for 5th on 20 points with the Red Bulls.
We talked about, in particular, the one breakdown that we saw in the 4th minute and what went wrong for Real Salt Lake. Well, let's take a look. It started all the way back in the defensive third for the New York Red Bulls as Luis Robles plays out to the left-hand side. Perronil gets his head up, looks to ping a ball in. Great job from Tony Beltran as he gets a touch, but a better job from Bradley Wright Phillips as he plays this first-time ball. Now, take a look at a couple players in particular. I want you to keep an eye on Abong as he makes that run towards the near post. Keep an eye on Davis right here, how he's unmarked. John Sturtzer's trying to get back. Luke Mulholland's not in the picture, but also keep an eye on DeMar Phillips because Grella is going to make that late run right to the top of the 6-yard box. And as this play breaks down, you got to give credit for Tony Beltran for recognizing there's an opportunity to break up the play, but that ball from Bradley Wright Phillips just opens up Real Salt Lake defensively. Take a look again as this ball plays out in real time. Beltran does a great job. Phillips perfectly weighted ball. Then Kamar Lawrence down the left-hand side. Mon's forced to come over. Sturtzer's a little bit late. Davis is looking for his shot on frame. And then Grella, right place, right time. And for Grella, that is the 4th goal he's scored this season. All 4 goals have been scored the exact same way. And unfortunately for Real Salt Lake, one huge mistake defensively opened them up and forced them to chase the game just 4 minutes in.
So 2 games this week. On the weekend, they get the full 3 points against Sporting Kansas City at home, and then they get beat by the Red Bulls. Now, everything's changing going forward because the Gold Cup call-ups are all set. RSL is going to be losing 5 players. No team in MLS is losing more, although Toronto and Dallas also lose 5. And it's worth mentioning, Houston will lose 4. I think a lot of people look at this list and see the quality of the players, the number of players, 45 across the league. And Dunny, they think, why not shut the league down for a couple of weeks like they do during World Cup play?
31 players were a part of World Cup rosters last summer in 2014, and the league was shut down during the group stage. I've heard arguments made, why not do the exact same during the Gold Cup group stage? It would be a 2-week window for Major League Soccer. But again, this is where you're talking about money. This is where you're talking about teams like Seattle, LA, New York Red Bulls, New York City FC, the big cities trying to draw fans midweek games. We also talked about international windows and how teams get devastated by these call-ups. There's solutions there. The problem is that those common sense solutions end up putting the big city teams under a lot of duress. And financially, TV doesn't like it, fans don't like it, teams don't like it when you don't have enough butts in the seats. And ultimately, that's where it comes down to as of this point.
Well, we've seen midweek games this year with RSL at LA and now at Red Bull Arena, and those were, quite frankly, poor crowds for both those games. So you can see why they don't want more midweek games. All right, RSL going to lose those 5 players. Sabo, Vasquez, Phillips, they're already done. We won't see them until after the Gold Cup. Beckerman and Raimondo are expected to play Saturday against Columbus. Then they're expected to go. Usually RSL tries to stay afloat, but the pressure's a little different now. Instead of being near the top of the table and just trying to hold on, now they got ground to make up.
Well, and also when you're talking about where this team is, this is a team right now that has to figure out ways to score goals. And unfortunately, that just hasn't been the case for a ton of different reasons. Some of them are legitimate, some of them maybe not so legitimate, but ultimately it's a team that needs points.
All right. RSL is in the bottom 3 in MLS in shots on goal, and corner kicks. They've been shut out. Well, it's about half the games. A little 17, you can't hit it right on the button, right? But 8 out of 17, almost half the games. And Denny, you made a point late in the post-game show last night at Red Bull Arena that's worth listening to again.
At this point of the season, as you near the halfway mark, this is where you start judging your impact players statistically. And right now, I know there's a lot of excuses, and they're built-in excuses, and they're realistic excuses. But this is where goals and assists have to start mattering. And when you have guys that make significant amounts of money, you expect them to put up significant numbers. And that's kind of where we're at this point. That first 45 minutes, by RSL standards, isn't good enough. That second 45 minutes, told me everything that I needed to know about this group in terms of commitment, heart, and soul, and not giving up when everything goes against you.
So the goal was to go to a 4-3-3, get the most attack-minded players out there. Now, Plata's been limited by injuries, so there's that, but he has one goal, and it was in U.S. Open Cup play, not in MLS. Sebastian Jaime has just one goal. Sabo has 3. We can go down the roster. Everybody is a little off their pace from previous years, except for the guys who are a lot off pace.
Well, listen, you're talking about Sabo, you're talking about Devin Sandoval, Sebastian Jaime, Joao Plata, Olmes Garcia. Those are the big 5 in particular when I'm talking about goals and assists, because ultimately that's what we judge them by, is their statistics at the end of the season. Combining those 5, right now you have 6 goals, 3 assists. Last year you had 24 goals, 9 assists. Now you can point to the fact that maybe Ned Grabavoy is not a part of the group anymore. You can point to the fact that Javier Morales has been banged up in some games, out some games because of concussion, hamstring injuries. Joao Plata is just coming back. Sabo's been back and forth with international duty. But at the end of the day, when you're halfway through the season, this is where not only the media, but the fan base starts to judge these players. And especially because July, what is it now, 8th, is the international window where MLS can now sign players and add players to the roster. That's where things get interesting, especially with the conversations. Now you start bringing Yurimov Sissi and possibly coming back from Europe. What other moves can be made? Again, if you're not talking about this situation if you're not sitting in the position you are in the Western Conference.
Right. So it's one thing for fans to judge, it's another thing for the media to judge, but now we're talking about team executives making their judgments, their decisions,
absolutely.
And front offices deciding whether to spend a lot of money or not. All right, Sabo won't be scoring any goals anytime soon, obviously, partly because of national team responsibilities with the Gold Cup. But that isn't why he was absent this week. Dunny talked with technical director Craig Weibel during Wednesday night's pregame show.
Elephant in the room is obviously Alvaro Sabario's situation. Kind of walk us through where we're at right now. There's been a lot of information out there, a lot of stuff on Twitter that, you know, is or is not the truth. But from your perspective, kind of what's going on in the world of RSL and how they're handling this situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There's some personal stuff going on for Sabo. We granted him some days off. Unfortunately, not everything went as planned, and I was tasked with disappointing him and suspended him for this trip in this game. So he's set to join Costa Rica in the Gold Cup, so it really doesn't affect extensively going forward. But you know, I think it was important not only for our team, for our locker room, but for our organization that there was a discipline factored in, and missing our game on the weekend, and you know, now we're dealing with him without tonight, which is a tough task without a good goal scorer.
Okay, so halfway through the season, overall assessment of where you think this group is at the moment.
Well, I think we're improving. You know, I think with all the injuries and just everything that's happened so far this year, been a bit unfortunate with timing, with, you know, Plata getting injured 1 hour into our season. You know, we're finally starting to see the group come together, and we're finally starting to have selections for the coaching staff to make, and difficult choices. And it's nice for them to have to do that. I'm sure they're enjoying making difficult decisions more than ever right now. So I think we're in a good spot right now moving forward, but you know, you can always improve.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to ask 2 questions that aren't always the easiest to answer. Good luck tonight. Good luck on the rest of the season, and especially with that transfer window opening up on July 8th. I think everyone's waiting to hear some news.
Never worry.
You got to love the personality from technical director Craig Weibel. So as we transition from Real Salt Lake, let's talk about Columbus Crew, and one player that I think has been one of the best players in Major League Soccer this season is a guy named Kai Kamara. And I feel like earlier in this season we were talking about Columbus Crew and their ability to score goals from different spots, and it all comes from wide play, wide service. Again, when you take a look at this goal, the game-tying goal just 4 minutes in, just watch the way Kai Kamara moves. So keep an eye on the defender right now, 1v1, but watch the way Kai is proactive in his movement, gets inside the box, and just follows this up. Defender gets caught ball watching, great header, great goal. Very similar situation, except this time for Kai, he's in the box by himself, guarded by 3 defenders, yet no one's marking him. And as that ball goes to the far side, great first touch from the wide player, and Kai Kamara, again, just puts himself in a situation. Watch, 1 defender goes goal line, 2 defenders get caught ball watching, and then Kai just drifts, and then he's unmarked inside the box. Simple goal, poor marking, 12th goal of the season, 2 assists. Now, when you take a look at this starting 11, keep an eye on Costa Rican international Waylon Francis. He loves to get forward on that left-hand side. Justin Miram one of the best players in terms of providing service so far this season in Major League Soccer. Ethan Finley, the Canadian international, loves to get forward. Pipa Higuain, it was one time one of the best players, and people widely consider him to kind of be that Javier Morales role where he drifts underneath. But again, this man, Kai Kamara, 12 goals, 2 assists on the season, absolute game changer for the Columbus Crew. For Real Salt Lake, I'm going to make a few changes this week, and obviously Abdoulaye Mansali like for DeMar Phillips. Kyle Beckerman comes in after returning from yellow card suspension. Luis Gil will get his opportunity to pull the strings underneath Devin Sandoval, Joao Plata on the left-hand side, but I'm going to go with Jordan Allen. I thought Jordan Allen was fantastic coming off the bench, considering that this is the 3rd game in just 7 days. You've got East Coast travel on top of that. The performance that Jordan Allen put in, especially after coming back from the disappointment of the U.S. Under-20s in the World Cup in New Zealand, I think it's a great opportunity for him, especially at home, to replicate what we saw in just about 30 minutes on the road at New York Red Bulls this past Wednesday. All
right, time now for the Master Electrical Keys to the Game.
Well, we just talked about Kai Kamara, so how about no love for Kai Kamara? 12 goals, 2 assists, incredibly athletic up top, loves to be dynamic in his movement, proactive in his final touches. Let's talk about capitalizing on scoring opportunities. Listen, RSL fans and Real Salt Lake as a group, as a unit, have been waiting for that one big blowout. Can they do that against Columbus Crew? Get a little bit more of that psychological push going forward. And then you need 3 points. You need 3 points before the Gold Cup departures. You've already lost Sabo. You're looking at a total of 5 guys. Not going to get any easier. It's time to man up, get the points necessary, and continue to push down the road to secure that spot in the Western Conference playoffs.
Saturday night, Dunny and I will have the Crew and RSL right here on KMYU. Join us for the pregame show Saturday at 7:30. And we're going to have more on the NBA draft coming up next on Talkin' Sports. Stay with us.